Chapter 5: Pixels, Samples, Lumens Illusion. The spiraling shape exploded across the office of Dean Douglas Dempster, then Dean of the College of Fine Arts, COFA. The source? Bruce Pennycook, then chair of the Center for Arts and Entertainment Technologies, who moments earlier had spun around it in dramatic fashion. At 4K 60 frames per second, he pivoted into a perfectly still, full-body game show host pose, arms outstretched in welcome, his smile paired with a head tilt like a curious dog's. The spiral, it seemed, still needed some fine-tuning. In 2014, having just returned from New Jersey, where I was teaching at Seton Hall University, and before I started teaching full-time at UT Austin, I was hired by Pennycook to write a scholarly prospectus for the creation of a new building to house his idea. I had no idea what I was doing. I needed the money, and so I made this scholarly prospectus. 50 pages. Pennycook would later replace my name with his as the author of the document that was then used to drum up administrative interest in these new and completely baffling curricular hypnotics. My only real guidance came from input provided by a handful of faculty leads in various planned areas of arts and entertainment technology. Performance technologies, Sven Ortel; digital art, Neil Docherty; gaming tech, Paul Toprak; and music technology, me. At the time, I don't even think I had met Toprak or Ortel while I was writing it. Meanwhile, the Center for Arts and Entertainment Technologies was already an established entity, a result of the previously approved spatter of ideas. Pennycook wasn't even my supervisor at the time. For all intents and purposes, I was functioning as an independent contractor, or at least that's how I was being paid. It was around this time that I asked Pennycook, "How did you come up with all this?" With a game show grin, he simply replied, "I just pulled it out of my ass." I remember because I wrote it down in the notes I was keeping for this contracted work. In and among the various trance-inducing course titles, there was the obligatory and benign Foundations of Arts and Entertainment Technologies. I don't remember how it came about, but I reluctantly volunteered to teach it. I think it was in a meeting with the area faculty leads and a few other added professors. I wasn't even full-time yet. I was volunteering to go to meetings while commuting from San Antonio. Zoom really wasn't a thing quite yet. This was 2 years before the Hobbit House and 4 years before COVID-19. I started full-time in the fall 2015. I had signed a contract earlier that summer. My focus that summer, aside for working on an album called Carson, was to nail down the syllabus and materials for this big class. The class was the perfect vehicle for solidifying the curricular and pedagogical topics for the CAET at large, I argued, and Pennycook agreed. All faculty agreed. It was democratic. I enlisted the aid of Thomas Yee, who, coincidentally, is the nephew of the guy who first recorded my post-high school band, the Robertsons, back in 1989. Thomas was my teaching assistant, and I dare say that the AET might not even be present at UT right now without Thomas's help with 304 and its exponential growth. The class itself was very democratic. I had at least one guest speaker each week, as I ran the full gamut of all potential areas of study in AET, along with some tangential topics that we envisioned adding later. In the fall of 2015, in its first iteration, the class enrollment was 55. In spring of 2019, my last term teaching it, the enrollment was 523, having peaked the term before in fall 2018 at 865. Just in time for the fall 2016 Kendall Hunt Publishing hastily published a textbook I wrote for the class called Pixels, Samples, Lumens, Illusion, Foundations of Arts and Entertainment Technologies. The book brings together nearly all the materials I had gathered for the class, along with numerous exercises, commentaries on the cultural implications of creative technologies, and a wealth of audiovisual examples. I'm proud of it. In the foreword, I described it as an anti-textbook, and it truly lives up to that label. It's unconventional in every sense. The work required to get the book done was massive, and Thomas, my teaching assistant, was extremely helpful. The course's cool foundation, enjoyed with contracting toes just semesters before, was showing signs of stress. And I seriously don't know whether to refer to the book in the present or the past. At present, Kendall Hunt has agreed to release the book rights back to me so that I can rewrite it as a more broadly accessible creativity manifesto, but I still haven't paid the $500 they want to complete the transaction. There was no longer a classroom anywhere at UT Austin to place this aggressively growing thing, and Thomas and I enjoyed, much to fine arts administrators' credit, a virtual carte blanche budget for the course. We had real support because we were making them tons of money to build out the Center for Arts and Entertainment Technologies, and it officially became a university department in the fall 2017. Pennycook hired more people to teach classes that were quickly coming into fruition. Sophia was hired for fall of 2017, and so on. I had a PlayStation 4 and tons of games for the massive gaming section of the class. I have a PlayStation 5 now. I am an avid accidental gamer and philosopher of game design. I was very busy. I was either teaching, planning massive adjustments for the Foundation's course growth, or asleep, or nesting, or grieving, or drinking. I don't know why my stream of consciousness leads me from drinking to UT administrators, but here it goes. In the fall of 2020, I met with the Vice Provost for Advocacy and Dispute Resolution and a full professor in the management department at the McCombs School of Business to discuss my contract termination, which I believed was in retaliation for reporting Pennycook's use of sexualized language about students, faculty, and staff. I brought with me a printout of all the work I had done for the College of Fine Arts, a staggering 528 pages, more than a ream of paper representing an academic life, cut short by incompetent administrators, devoid of principle and terrified of being exposed as such. The administrator said little during the meeting except to remark that the previous university president had given the deans way too much power. In hindsight, I'm astonished by her candor. She looked worn down, slow to respond as if hungover, or at least giving off the appearance of someone who might be. This weary, haggard look seems common among university administrators earning $125,000 or more. Among women in that group, heavy eyeliner often completes the picture of someone familiar with late-night drinking.
Lo, the abode of the elder woman of contentious settle rises high within the heights of a towering keep. This sanctified structure guards the secrets of the university, entombed like precious gems in crypts far above the Austin soil. As I ponder this hidden repository, I am drawn to compare it to the legendary Erd tree from the mythic realm of Elden Ring. In this fantasy role-playing game, developed by From Software, the Erd tree stands at the geographical center of the world, a gargantuan wonder always visible to the player. It intertwines mysteries like ancient roots, looming as a constant reminder of both the game's immense challenge and the player's vulnerability. Such is the nature of this elder woman's keep, a place where power and secrecy are as intertwined as the roots of the Erd tree itself.
After much planning over the summer of 2018, Thomas and I, along with massive help from UT Liberal Arts ITS and 15 teaching assistants, turned the Foundations course into a Johnny Carson-style live broadcast talk show course in creative technologies. The idea of the Carson theme came from just finishing up an album called Carson. I also used the in-progress work on the album to give a first-person look at the intersection of technology and creative process in the first unit of the course, music and audio technology. In the course, I guided students through a comprehensive exploration of arts and entertainment technology, divided into 5 distinct sections. We began by focusing on music and audio technology, examining the history and evolution of music technology, modern songwriting, and concert technologies. I encourage students to consider the cultural implications of sampling and how the digital revolution had transformed the industry. Along the way, we engaged in discussions and creative projects that bridged theory and practice. From there, we shifted our attention to performance and visual technology, exploring topics like projection design, digital visualization tools, robotics in entertainment, and tools like Max MSP. Through hands-on assignments such as creating short GIFs and in-studio performances, students experienced firsthand the creative potential of these technologies. As the course progressed, we dove into the world of video gaming, mobile media, and the democratization of technology. In the gaming unit, we examined the sociology, aesthetics, and design of video games, addressing topics like virtual and augmented reality and discussing iconic games like No Man's Sky. This section emphasized the cultural and social implications of gaming, including issues of representation. We then explored democratized technologies, looking at podcasting, maker spaces, and the dual nature of technology as both subversive and redemptive. To conclude the course, we reflected on the distinctions between art and entertainment, examining their societal impact. Through a mix of lectures, discussions, creative projects, and exams, I helped students critically evaluate the intersections of technology and creativity in contemporary culture. The course was a new idea in structure, form, content, and delivery, and it was almost revolutionarily democratic. The coursework was informed by what our faculty were doing and teaching. We had them on the show to demonstrate and talk about their work and the work of their students. We had a green screen area where we could project the visual output of a PlayStation virtual reality game being played by some in-studio student volunteers, with real-time commentary coming from students in their dorms, managed by a small army of 15 teaching assistants, all under Thomas, who by then was the lead TA for the class. We had live in-studio demos of 4K projections of images mapped to 3D structures. We had it all. It was incredible. It was maybe the single greatest thing I ever did and likely ever will. I trust I was coherent on set, even as the PTSD flashes of my daughter Lucy's death would momentarily dissolve my focus, stealing away my sense of being present. I believe I was. Certainly the course instructor surveys submitted by students showed no sign that I ever missed a beat. But it was incredibly hard. At times, I felt utterly dead inside. I did feel pressed by Pennycook and Dempster to continue teaching the course immediately after Lucy died. That much is absolutely true. I was pushed by UT with its insatiable hunger for revenue. Despite the reality that corporate sponsors weren't exactly banging down fine arts doors, seeking radical new breakthroughs in techniques like 12-tone rows, a method of musical composition designed to give equal prominence to all 12 notes of the chromatic scale, ensuring no single pitch dominates. I also felt the weight of my own commitment, the pressure to see through the course I had poured so much effort into, written a book for, and painstakingly made sense of from the chaotic spatter of ideas. And so, I pressed on. In the end, from the moment I agreed to write a new building prospectus to the last day of my terminated contract, I was never anything more than a tool at UT. The dean took the impressive enrollment numbers for the foundations class to inflate the perception of the per-class enrollment average in arts and entertainment technologies, to wow the leadership found in ye old UT Tower of Keep. The course generated around $4 million in new enrollment revenue, more than enough cash to poach at least 15 faculty without any national searches from the neighboring and the nigh boring Arts Institute of Austin over the next year. In a truly hilarious high school drama class-like reenactment of a corporate merger, in the fall of 2018, the supernaturally conjured School of Design and Creative Technologies materialized as a big-budget sequel to The Spiraling Shape, just as a spell might be conjured in Elden Ring, complete with an accompanying upward-bending icy sound gesture. Overnight, and without any input from college committees, the School of Design and Creative Technologies was pulled directly from Dempster's butt. This time not spattered on someone's desk, but across the entire College of Fine Arts at UT. It was Dempster's clumsy attempt at a corporate-style merger, combining design with the arts and entertainment technologies. At the helm, Doreen Lorenzo, a former CEO self-celebrated as a thought leader of unparalleled innovation and influence. Thusly, as with faculty poached, the Department for Arts and Entertainment Technologies poached, or at least adopted, the for-profit approach to higher education found at the Arts Institute of Austin, where a new dollar is way more important than a new idea and teachers teach directly, without deviation, from a corporate-approved course binder with very clean page protectors. Principled people, beware. And then, something quite beautiful happened in my life. A bloom of unexplainable and elegant synchronism. I was having issues with alcohol after Lucy died. I will discuss this in detail in a forthcoming chapter. I come from a family of drinkers, and I had been drinking since age 23. In my very first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, not long after my termination on May 29th, 2019, I told my entire story in a 3-minute share. I was telling complete strangers about everything at UT, what I taught, and the death of Lucy, and so on. I hadn't even filed a lawsuit yet. All the words you've read so far in 3 minutes. After the meeting, a kind and gentle elderly man approached me and offered to be my sponsor. I just got off the phone with Bob, my sponsor, spiritual lighthouse, and best friend. I had called him to make sure I had worded the dean's class enrollment scheme clearly. Bob, an 81-year-old mathematician, brings a wealth of perspective to any conversation. Back in 1973, while in California, he was part of a team at PARC, Palo Alto Research Center, a research and development company founded in 1969 by Jacob E. Jack Goldman, then Xerox Corporation's chief scientist. PARC was initially a Xerox division focused on creating groundbreaking computer technology and hardware systems. During his time there, Bob's team invented the pixel, the smallest measurable unit of digital imagery, a feat that fundamentally shaped modern digital technology. Bob is also a longtime gamer. Later this evening, we'll both be diving into Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon by From Software, and by the weekend, we'll likely reach the co-op play options. Together, we've already logged a combined 1,800 hours in Elden Ring, so adding another From Software title to our roster feels like a natural progression. Conversations with Bob are always a blend of technical expertise, gaming camaraderie, and a shared spiritual connection, making him an anchor in both my professional and personal life. Damn, I play cooperative video games and pray with a guy who was on the team that theorized the very stuff video games and virtually all non-natural, still and moving images are composed in. I lectured extensively on it. I had guests come to the Big Foundations class for discussions about the cultural implications of the pixel. I'm typing in a pixel pool, and so at the very lowest point in my life, up to that point, the inventor of the pixel found me.
Assuredly, there dwells a deity, resplendent and omnipotent, amidst thine nigh-boring tapestry of existence. Life is a miracle.
Final comments. At university, new knowledge and creative technology does not triumph by convincing the skeptical and making them see the light by photon or pixel. And it does not triumph when the skeptical eventually die, leaving younger generations to grow into the acceptance of new knowledge. New knowledge and creative technology is only possible when those in the positions of authority to approve plans for the discovery of new knowledge either understand the plan fully or promptly admit they have no fucking idea what the spatter on their desk means. And of course, none of it matters when a single new dollar holds greater importance than a single new thought. And of course, only perfectly symmetrical buttocks can properly imprint a Rorschach spatter. At least the Dempster's spatter was symmetrical. He's a runner.